My in-laws made me cook every holiday meal for 8 years while they relaxed and critiqued, so I finally sat down and watched Thanksgiving fall apart without me lifting a finger. I'm black and my husband's family is white, and I told myself that wouldn't matter because love is love. The first holiday I spent with him, his mother handed me an apron and pointed toward the kitchen while everyone else settled into the living room with drinks. I didn't mind because I actually love cooking, but when I reached for the spice cabinet, my mother-in-law swooped in and blocked my hand. "Oh honey, we don't do all that," she said. "We like to actually taste the food." Everyone in the other room laughed. My husband told me later she didn't mean anything by it. Every holiday after that followed the same pattern but worse. I became the default cook and cleaner for every gathering while the blood relatives watched football and did absolutely nothing. My mother-in-law hovered over me the entire time and called it supervising. If I seasoned a sauce, someone would taste it and add water to calm it down before it hit the table. If I made my grandmother's mac and cheese recipe, they'd scrape off the top layer because it was too much. One Easter I made my great-aunt's sweet potato pie and his mother took one bite and said, "Oh, that's very ethnic," like she was complimenting a child's art project. My sister-in-law would walk into the kitchen just to hand me her dirty plate without even looking at me and say, "You're so good at this stuff," before heading back to the couch. I spent every Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter alone in that hot kitchen for hours while they sat together and laughed and thanked each other for the beautiful meal I made. His mother once asked me if my people celebrated Thanksgiving the same way, like I was a foreign exchange student. I told my husband it bothered me, and he always said the same thing. "They don't mean it like that. It's just one more year." But it was never just one more year. Last Christmas was the breaking point. I spent 14 hours in that kitchen making everything from scratch. Turkey and ham and greens and stuffing and 3 different pies. I set the table and served every plate and refilled every drink. When everyone finally sat down, my mother-in-law raised her glass and looked around at her family with this big, proud smile. "I have to say," she announced, "we really had to watch her like a hawk this year, or it would have been completely inedible for the rest of us." The whole table laughed. Every single one of them. My husband gave me an apologetic look, but he didn't say a word. I smiled and got through the rest of the meal, but on the drive home, I told him I was done. I was never cooking for his family again. He spent the next 11 months trying to convince me to change my mind, but I meant what I said. When we walked into his parents' house for Thanksgiving, his mother looked at me and then looked at the kitchen, like she was waiting for me to take my position. I sat on the couch in the living room instead. She tilted her head like a confused dog. "Are you feeling okay?" I smiled at her. "I'm fine. I'm just not cooking this year." Everyone looked at everyone else waiting for someone to step up, but nobody moved. His mother finally went to the kitchen herself, and his sister reluctantly followed her. The turkey went in too late and came out burnt on the outside and raw in the middle. The gravy was lumpy and gray and tasted like straight flour. The mashed potatoes were somehow gluey and chunky at the same time. The greens were bland and bitter because nobody knew you had to wash them more than once. Every few minutes, someone came out of the kitchen looking more panicked than before. His mother kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to jump in and save them. I just sat there and watched the whole thing fall apart. After 3 hours of chaos, she finally stormed into the living room with grease stains all over her apron and her hair falling out of its clip and her face red with frustration. She pointed at me. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "You're being petty and childish. Get in there and help us before you ruin the entire holiday." I looked her in the eyes. "Why would you want my help if my cooking is so dangerous?" Her face twisted into something ugly. "You know what your problem is? You people always have to make everything about you. 8 years I've welcomed you into this family, and you can't even get off your lazy ass to help when we need it." I felt my husband tense up next to me. "She wasn't done. You couldn't even bring a dish, not even a watermelon. Isn't that what your people eat?" Every single person in that room stopped breathing. My husband stood up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. "What did you just say?" His mother's eyes went wide like she just realized what came out of her mouth. "I didn't mean it like, we're done," he said. "We're leaving and we're not coming back, ever." She started crying and reaching for him, but he grabbed my hand and walked us out the door without looking back. We stopped for takeout on the way home, and it was the best Thanksgiving I'd had in 8 years.